Great to have you here today, Simone. I'm really excited to chat with you about what you're doing with Soothe and what that opportunity is for the therapists that we've got in the audience here. But I really wanted to start just by getting you to describe a little bit of your journey. Where did you start as a massage therapist, and how has that led you to where you are now, working for Soothe as like a national manager?
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on here, firstly. So I started my massage journey about 16 years ago, 15, 16 years ago. I was working for my sister in her design company and kind of thought it wasn't really me. And so decided to do a Reiki course.
Oh, great.
Firstly, and then a friend actually invited me to do a unit of massage with her, just a relaxation little course with her, and I did, and I loved it. And so I went on to do the Cert 4, the whole Cert 4 on the Gold Coast, and then started working at the Versace Hotel in the day spa for about
Great.
5 years there, which I loved.
That must have been a good experience.
It was fantastic. It was actually a lot of fun. Very interesting clientele.
Yeah.
But really nice environment to work in. And I guess then I just did my clients on the side mobile, and continued on throughout there, working in over the years in wellness centres, chiro clinics, different day spas, that sort of thing.
Yeah, great. So you've had a bunch of different experience there, and it sounds like you've had a really good career, really, working through that time. What was it then that led you to Soothe, or how did that first take place? Did they approach you, or were you interested in it?
Yes. So Soothe was led to me. One of my clients that I had been massaging back on the Gold Coast about 12 years ago had a friend that knew the owner of Soothe, and they were looking for someone to become the Melbourne recruiter for them, and contacted him asking if he knew anyone in Melbourne that could fit the role, and he put my name forward. So
Fantastic.
we got in touch, had a few Skype meetings, and then I was flown off to LA to meet everyone at head office, and came back, and
Sounds great. Yeah. What an exciting position to be in, to have that opportunity there.
It was very exciting. It was very exciting also for knowing that I could be in a position where I could help other therapists to get more work, more income, more clients.
Yeah. And it might be a good time, actually, if someone's not familiar with Soothe, or maybe they've heard the name, but they don't know exactly how it works. Do you want to share a little bit about what Soothe actually is as a company, how it works and who you work with, that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So Soothe essentially is a referral platform, a referral company for therapists and clients. So through an app or the website, clients can make bookings, and then we connect the booking with suitable therapists that are in our system, basically.
Perfect. So it's kind of like Uber for massage. I've heard it described as that, right?
It's very similar in the way that it works to how Uber works. So therapists are all independent contractors, and clients can book via an app. They can choose between 4 types of massage. They can choose male or female therapist. They choose the time and the day, and then punch those details in. Off goes the offer to the therapists that suit that booking, and whoever wants to take it clicks accept, and off they go.
Fantastic. So as a client, for me, it's just as simple as installing the app and then saying I need a massage and the time and that sort of stuff. Is it a fixed price, or a different therapist, different prices?
No, it's a fixed price.
Fantastic.
So it's one price for 60 minutes, one price for 90 minutes, and one price for 2 hours.
Yeah, of course.
Regardless of what type of massage and what time of the day it is.
Yeah, great.
So it's kept very simple. It's a very simple system to use for both the therapist and the client.
Yeah, fantastic. And then from the therapist point of view, I imagine they've got like their therapist login or a special app or something, and they would see these are the offers that are coming through to you right now or today, and they would tick which ones they want to accept or something like that. Is that how it looks?
Yeah, well, it's on demand, so it's an instantaneous thing. So therapists can switch on their app availability any time of the day, or evening that they want to. We operate up to midnight, from 8 a.m. till midnight, 7 days a week.
Great.
Every day of the year. So basically it's on-demand income for therapists as well. So if they feel like tomorrow, got no bookings, I really would like to have some work, they just switch on their availability. They can choose what areas they'd like to cover. So if they want to keep it close to home, they can. And then they just see the offers as they come through.
Yeah, how fantastic.
So, yeah.
It sounds really ideal. And even when we spoke about this the other day, to me, it sounds like a really good opportunity for therapists who maybe aren't as busy as they want to be yet, and still building their own business maybe, but this is just a way of saying, well, I might get some last minute bookings tomorrow. I've got no one in, while they're in that building phase. I'll hook up with Soothe, make myself available. And I just want to be really clear, they still can say yes or no, right? So it's not like they're committing to being there.
No, if you have your availability open, you still choose whether you want to accept a booking or not.
Yeah. So if they
it's
had
entirely up to the therapist.
Yeah, if they had an actual client of their own that had booked in, they could just not accept things through the app, or they could do it the other way around. So it does sound like it would fit really neatly into that kind of early startup, or even as an ongoing business model, you might decide to use Soothe a little bit like that. What about, because I can kind of imagine some of the questions that people might be thinking to themselves now, therapists listening to this, where are you based? Could I join Soothe if I was in like a semi-rural town, or do I have to be in the city? How does it work?
So at this point, we are up and running in Melbourne, Sydney, and the Gold Coast. So this year, so we're still in early stages. We've been operating in Australia just over a year, about a year and a half, but in full swing, sort of just over a year in Melbourne and Sydney, and we just launched the Gold Coast in December. So we will be going into all the major cities, so Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, and then probably some of the semi-major cities. The very rural areas, probably not. So yeah, I guess it just depends on what the demand would be in the area.
Of course. And do you have an idea of how much demand there is at the moment? Like if someone was in a fairly busy suburb that you've got, I don't know, somewhere in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane, how many treatments could a massage therapist expect to do in a day or a week through something like this?
Well, as I said, it is growing at the moment. We've spent the last year or so doing all the groundwork, getting everything in place, making sure everything's sort of running smoothly, and so we're just about to embark on a bigger marketing plan, and so we are expecting numbers to increase quite a bit over the coming months.
Sure.
At the moment, like depending on whereabouts you are, therapists could be doing from a few massages a day. Some might only do a few a week, upwards, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yeah, it sounds great. And if demand is increasing, and then I imagine you'll get more therapists coming on board as well. So that balance will probably even out over time, which is really great. What about, I know another question people ask is, how much does it pay? How much, if I'm a therapist, how much do I get paid for doing a treatment for someone through Soothe?
Okay, so that varies as well from city to city, but it varies from between about $60 an hour, going up to, can go up to about 75 possibly. And there are also bonuses that we offer for Sundays and public holidays, and sometimes when there's, like, for example, Mother's Day or Father's Day or Valentine's Day, there's extra bonuses that are sent out in little newsletters as well from time to time. Another thing I didn't mention, there's also the opportunity to rebook clients. So a therapist can actually set up ongoing bookings with the client.
Yeah, great.
And then build regular time slots with clients as well through the system.
Yeah, fantastic. It sounds like a good opportunity to me for people who do want to be able to gain access to clients and just literally do the work, just do the stuff that they love doing, do the treatments.
That's it. I think, like you said, the marketing and the promoting, and the finding clients is often the difficult, which is what you guys do.
Yeah, yeah.
Part of being, especially a massage therapist like I've been over the years, I just love doing the treatments. I get in my little zone, I'm in my little world, and I meditate while I'm massaging, and I'm not thinking about how I can get more business. But because I don't think that way or haven't thought that way, I've often struggled to have enough clients, to get enough clients through the week, and how can I get more clients? So,
Yeah. And it's a
yeah.
really common story because some people do want to grow a business. They're quite proactive in the way they think about that. But other people are much more comfortable working at a day spa or for other therapists doing whatever sort of treatments that they can do. And so I
Mm,
kind of see Soothe as being somewhere in between. They're getting the opportunity to kind of proactively choose their own hours and do their own thing, but they're still getting those clients brought to them. I guess it might be a little bit hard for them to predict when and how many, but it's still
yeah.
an opportunity that's there that's kind of being able to boost them with a few extra clients as they go through. So I think it's great. It sounds like a really great thing. And I know there are other companies out there as well as Soothe that are kind of playing in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
But just from my knowledge, it seems like Soothe is maybe the biggest or the first to be in Australia, really. Certainly the biggest name I've heard around is the Soothe name.
Yeah, I think Soothe's actually been operating for about 4 years, since 2013 we kicked
Mm,
off. And we're currently in about 58 cities around the world. We're
wow.
covering, as well as Soothe Australia, we have Soothe in the US, the UK, we've got Soothe Canada. This year there are plans, we've already started recruiting in Singapore. We have Soothe Dublin getting ready to kick off as well. Germany, Zurich. So
Wow.
it's going to continue to grow.
Here's an interesting question. What if there was a therapist in Australia who happened to be traveling through Zurich and
Mm-hmm.
thought, I could use a bit of extra pocket money while I'm here to fund the next leg of my travels? Can they just log on to the app in Zurich and work from there?
Yes, so therapists can transfer to different marketplaces. What they would do is contact myself if I'm the
Sure.
city that they've been
So it's not as
working
easy as just
through.
turning the app on wherever they are. They have to they have to ask, but it sounds like it's
They just
possible.
well, it's all they'd have to do is shoot an email through or give me a call and say, I want to switch over to this marketplace for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, or I'm moving to somewhere else, and then I would switch them over to that recruiter so that then the same app, when they log in, once we've switched them over, they would then be receiving offers in that location. That's provided that their qualifications are recognised in that location as
Oh
well.
yeah, of
So
course.
in the US, therapists have to be licensed to the states that they're
Mm.
working in. So yeah, there's different requirements, I guess, over there. But certainly, at least within Australia, if a therapist, we've had some therapists that have moved from Melbourne to Sydney, they've
Oh
just switched
yeah.
over and then continued to work there. Or if they wanted to go to the Gold Coast for a couple of weeks holiday and visit friends or something like that, go up there for the Commonwealth Games and hang out for a bit and take some bookings,
Yeah, great.
then it is very easy to switch them over and then back again, so they can, like I said, go for a month holiday and take some bookings while you're there.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. I'd like to also return just to you and your role in this whole thing. What do you actually do for Soothe? Like you're here talking to us as their national manager or the representative in
Hmm.
Australia. What do you do? What's your daily, what does it look like to be you for a day?
Okay, so um, look, I do anything from I do all of the recruiting, so making contact with therapists, responding to emails, setting up interview times, collecting. So the process is if a therapist applies. The one thing that I didn't mention is that not just anyone can sign up to Soothe. There is a process. We only accept a certain level of massage therapist and
Yeah,
a certain
great.
quality.
Yeah.
Um, and so going through the process of collecting qualification certificates and so forth, all the required information from the therapist, and then setting up an actual interview, going through that process. You know, responding to daily communications from therapists or phone calls. Simone, can you help me with this? I'm not sure if I'm logged on properly, or whatever it may be. I want to accept that booking, but I can't take it at that time. I can do it half an hour later. Can you get that set up for me? So things like that are helping out our PR person, our publicist, who's based in Sydney, with any publicity type stuff, getting interviewed on podcasts.
Awesome. Yeah, great. No, it sounds really good. And it seems like for you, that's a good role that fits in really well as the next step in your journey, which is great. You've had the experience as a therapist yourself, and now you're stepping in with a business where you get to be able to connect with other therapists and help them along the same journey, which is really exciting for you. That's great. Well done for getting yourself into that position.
Thank you.
What do you see as your next steps for you and or for Soothe, the business?
Well, for me, within Soothe, it's opening up our next marketplace. It's opening up Soothe Brisbane, and then Perth, Adelaide, whatever order we do it in. But yeah, pretty much going throughout the whole country and opening up as many marketplaces as I can. So yeah, there will be at some point a trip back over to LA to connect with all the other international managers and head office. So that's, yeah, I guess what I'm looking at right now.
Do you have a time frame for that? Like rolling out across Australia sounds like such an exciting thing. Is that like next 12 months or is it next 10 years? What's the kind of...
No, well, my vision is the next 12 months by the end of the year.
Wow, great.
I sometimes get a little bit ahead of myself and have to be pulled back in. Hang on a minute, just let's, one place at a time. But yeah, obviously that I will at some point be bringing on some assistants here and there. But that is my vision for the rest of this year at least.
Fantastic. How
maybe
exciting.
A year and a half. Yeah.
And what if you are across Australia and in all the major cities in each state, how many therapists do you imagine you would have in the network at that point? Do you have a number of actual therapists in mind as a goal?
So it depends on each city, obviously, but and how busy things are. We have, because we operate over such or quite long hours, from 8 o'clock in the morning to midnight, 7 days a week. So in Sydney, we kind of go for about 35 k's out from the CBD, and in Melbourne. So it's a large area of each city that we cover. For that reason, we need, and because we're on demand, so we aim to fill as many bookings as we can, all the bookings, and because people can book in as little as 1 hour advance, then we need a lot of therapists to cover all areas. And because some therapists are only jumping on once a week, so for that reason, we continue to recruit. We've got in Sydney about 130 therapists in the network so far. Great. Out of that, probably only 50% actually are quite active in the network. So some just jump on every now and then. Some are more, more active. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of Soothe therapists out there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. What a vision. That's great. And I guess it leads nicely into saying, if someone is interested in becoming a Soothe therapist, or even just asking a bit more about it to see if they'd be suitable, see how it works, what's the next steps for them? Do you have a website that they can go to, or who should they contact?
Yes, so they can go to sooth.com, which is our website, and there is a link at the bottom of the page to become a Soothe therapist, to apply, or they can go to sooth.com/apply. I am the contact person in Australia, so they could, if they wanted to contact me directly, it's simone@soothe.com.
No worries. And Soothe is SOOTHE.
Yes.
Right? It's got the E on the end. Just for people who might be listening, it's not the word Soothe, it's got the E on the end, .com.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. And I will put a link in the show notes So if anyone's listening to this and they need the link, just look in the show notes and I'll make sure it hooks up to the right place. That's fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, I hope that there's people listening to this who are ready to say, hey, this sounds like a great opportunity. I'm interested and I'm going to get in touch. I think that's really great. Also think for some people it's not going to be right now, but that's okay too. It's still been, it's great to just hear of a different model for doing massage, a different way that this industry is advancing within Australia and even in the rest of the world as well. And I think it's just fascinating to hear something like Soothe coming in, doing quite well, continuing to grow. And it does seem to me like something that has quite a strong connection to the therapists themselves. You're paying relatively well to the therapist. You're trying to set it up for them to be as confident and as safe as they can be as well. It's really cool.
Yeah, and the safety thing is something also that we take very, very seriously. If I can just touch on that quickly.
Of course, yeah. Talk about that for me.
So that is a major consideration of a lot of, especially female therapists that contact me. And we have a whole trust and safety department that look after, the therapist and anything to do with that. So we take very seriously any clients that come through that don't respect how and what we are. And so as far as the actual booking times themselves or the appointments that therapists go to, there is a check-in and check-out button on the app on their appointment once they've accepted an appointment. And we have GPS trackers on all the therapist apps while they're switched on as well. So we have a dispatch team that watch where everyone is, they're in the right place. And yes, and once they've checked in at the beginning of the treatment, that button then turns into a checkout button, which at the end of the treatment, and I tell all the therapists that come through that don't check out until you've actually packed up and left the place and you're out in your car, and then check out. And that way we know you've completed, you're safely on your way. If a therapist forgets to check out, they get a reminder text message and then a phone call if they've still not responded. If there's still no response, we contact the client. So there is follow-up. It's not just you're out there. And I think that's one of the considerations with doing mobile. That's one of the reasons that I never actually advertised publicly when I was building my mobile business over the years. Because as a sole trader, as a sole massage therapist out there doing clients, no one's there watching over you kind of thing. And so with this system, there's a whole structure around you. There's a whole team of people watching out for the therapists and making sure that everyone's safe. And also for our clients, we do background checks on all the therapists to help for the clients to know that they are safe with whoever we're sending into their homes as well.
Yeah, of course. That's right. It goes both ways, doesn't it?
It does. It does indeed.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Simone. It's been lovely to hear from you. Absolutely fantastic to hear about Soothe and the opportunities that might have there. And yeah, all the best for this year as you roll out across Australia.
Thank you, James. Much appreciated. Lovely connecting with you.